If you had asked me 6 months ago what I thought of Rob Reiner, I would have told you that he's some meathead Hollywood tool. Yeah, that's what I would have said 6 months ago. I didn't know if he was married. I didn't know if he had kids. I didn't care about any of that. I didn't care anything about him. I didn't think about him, right? I just knew him from like All in the Family. I didn't even know he made Princess Bride, which I thought was a super awesome movie. So when his son committed that awful crime, I started learning about it. I started learning about him. I started learning about his family. And let me think if anything has changed about my opinion. First of all, my opinion was only based on, what I saw on Twitter or whatever, you know what I mean? Like just his tweets, really. And he seemed to have that whole like TDS or whatever, which people definitely get. And I mean, whatever, Trump, I am not a fan of Trump at all. At all. But I think his issues with Trump were different from my issues with Trump. It doesn't make his situation any less tragic. And I sort of felt a connection to the apparent situation. So I think most people are looking at this as, husband and wife, their 3 children, their family being torn apart by whatever issues they faced and trying to fix it and trying to figure out what is missing and then ultimately having it end tragically. So that's how I'm going to approach this, okay? I have a different frame in which I view this scenario, but that's for a different video. Just coming from the point of a family devastated by addiction and mental illness. I feel a connection to that from the child's standpoint and the parent standpoint. What I mean is just the dynamic of I'm struggling with something and I need your help, and the parent is I don't know how to help. And I've been the parent seeing my kids struggling with something and not knowing how to help them. So I felt something when I watched these scenarios go down, and I watched a lot of interviews, and I could see just the sadness. I saw how Nick would bristle every time his dad would use those words. Anybody with a desk and a diploma. I watched so many videos of them being interviewed about that movie, and he uses that phrase in every single one. I trusted everybody with a desk and a diploma, like it says in the movie. So I guarantee that kid was so done hearing it. Was so done with that. I trusted I had a desk and diploma. If you watched my video entitled No Offense AA, perhaps you know some of my history. I started drinking alcohol on purpose for its effects when I was about 10, but we were drinking it when we were little. I remember getting up in the morning, and this is really gross, but my dad, he would put his beer bottles, this area in the kitchen, and I would drink what was left in them, which was backwash, right? I don't know. I just really liked the taste of beer, and I thought I was drinking beer, and I'm just a little kid. I don't know why I did that. It's super gross. So around 10, we discovered, if you drink enough of this stuff, things get fun. Around 12, we were smoking pot. We were smoking my friend's dad's pot. Actually, we would go around to all his ashtrays and get all the roaches and empty them out and roll new joints out of them. My one friend had just, liquor galore. And they had, I think, 2 living rooms. Every end table was a liquor cabinet, every single one. That's pretty impressive. So there was no shortage of free-flowing alcohol and drugs, especially in the neighborhood we grew up in. It was a nice neighborhood and people had money. And kids with money sure knew how to get into trouble. And I think that's part of it too, being from a privileged family. Nick had a lot of money and he had a lot of cushion. There was a lot of protection. No one needs to know about that, or no, quiet, dad's image or whatever. And I don't even know if that's true. I'm just assuming on a general sense that somebody who is famous probably wants to keep their family troubles to a minimum in the public. So I think that rich or privileged kids get away with more. I'm definitely not saying that I was rich. I was not rich. I lived in a rich neighborhood. I went to a rich people's school. I went to a rich people church, but we were not rich people. We were not the privileged ones, but I hung out with privileged ones. And so I had access to a lot of the things. When I was 16, I had to get my tonsils out. It had a lot to do with being out drinking all the time and not coming home and, sleeping outside on the ground or whatever, garages. After my surgery, they gave me this delicious liquid coating. It was expensive. Well, it was expensive for my parents. I know that they could not afford to keep me in coating, especially with the way I was drinking it. I mean, I was chugging it. I remember going through withdrawal. I was sitting on the swings at the playground with my friends and I was shaking. And I was like, you know, what? This sucks. This sucks. So I did, you know, whatever I could to alleviate all the pain, all the discomfort, all the confusion, all the restlessness or the anger that was going on. I just quieted it. I tried to quiet it. I went to work to get money. I went to school to get drugs, and I went home to get high. That was my life. So it wasn't like, you know, I was living some glitzy, glammy party girl lifestyle. I was just kind of hanging out, just being a dirtbag on my own. I did obviously hang out with other people and we did do drugs together, but ideally the situation would be me, myself, and I, you know, party of one. Sometimes I quieted it with more noise. One of my favorite drugs was acid. Oh my gosh. I actually had to look it up to find out what the statute of limitations was on admitting this, but I used to sell it. It's extremely lucrative and really easy to get and to sell. And it's also a very high penalty. But it didn't stop me, obviously. So I know what that's like. I know what that's like to be out of control completely and not be able to be helped. You know, like I think back, well, what could anybody have said to me? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nobody could have said anything to me to get me to stop being the way I was. So God put me in rehab. Rehab, AA, rehab again, detox, AA, rehab, NA, you know, just the cycle. The more I got to know God, the less I wanted to offend him. And when I found out that getting drunk on purpose was a mortal sin, well, you know, case closed, done. Did I ever get drunk again? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Because I'm weak and I'm human and I'm stupid. But that's why God is so awesome, because he forgives me if I'm sorry. And I am sorry, to the point where I don't really drink anymore, just because, you know, I don't need to flirt with that kind of danger, that kind of offense. It doesn't really pay off. I plan to make another video about free drugs, where you can find them and how awesome they are. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But for now, I'm just gonna tell you that the drugs, you know, they're not reliable. They're not good friends.
That's not what drug does, baby.
Now, from a parenting point of view, to watch your child suffer and struggle is one of the hardest things ever. I'm sure he loved his son in his own way. Or maybe he didn't, I don't know. I really don't know the guy. But I know that I really, really love my children. But I can't solve every problem for them. And when I see them struggle with things that are beyond my control, it's heartbreaking. And I understand that. I understand that struggle of really, really wanting everything to be better for your kid, but knowing that the only thing that will make it better is them learning this lesson. And that's really, really hard. And so I think that maybe this family, they had hope. You know, they had hope that this was gonna eventually be solved. I really hope that we do hear more from Nick in the coming months, and that he's able to reveal sort of whatever motivated him. I've never been tempted to murder my parents, no matter whatever happened growing up that made me the way that I was. Never, ever, ever. Now, have I ever wanted to murder somebody? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have. And that's another video. I've actually got a video on how to change your life completely in, I'll say a month, but you know, I don't like to put a time on it, but I'll say a month. I'll bet within a month of doing this, your whole life will change. So keep your eyes peeled for that.